Hey everyone, welcome back to another Anime Kingdom manga review. See by title below, yes, this is on chapter 217 and chapter 218 of Shokugeki no Soma. And yes, I am finally back, guys. If you guys have been wondering where the heck my reviews have been, or pretty much my videos in general have been for the past week, that is because if you didn't check and see my Facebook or Twitter posts or watch my vlog, I have been on a family vacation for the past week, which is why none of these videos have been out. And in that vlog and Facebook and Twitter post, I pretty much stated that I was going to be doing the same thing that I did back in winter, which was double episode reviews, or in this case, double chapter reviews, so that, you know, you can get my opinions and thoughts from the last episode or last chapter in this case, and still get this week's as well. And this is another thing. I honestly, I get it. There's some of you that would not, you don't care about what my opinion and thoughts are for last week already, because it's the current week already. You wanna, you've been looking for the current week kind of stuff, what happened this week, not last week. I know there are some people like that, and I don't, there's nothing wrong with that. If you want to skip to it, I actually have in the description below a link that goes straight to my chapter 218 review part of this video, and if you want to do that, then feel free to go ahead and do that. If you want to hear my thoughts on chapter 217 as well as chapter 218, then feel free to just stay along for the rest of the video, and you don't have to go ahead and click anything. But before I start the review, I want to of course clarify the format of this, how this is going to work. Last time I kind of just watched both episodes, or in this case read both chapters, and then went ahead and just took one whole take and straight of after watching or reading both of those chapters. This time instead, I wanted to so I don't spoil myself and kind of have the same. If you go and see my chapter 217 part and see my chapter 218 part, it won't be affecting each other. So instead of like before, I would read both of them, but obviously I already read chapter 218, so I know stuff that's going to happen, and that kind of changes my view of that the chapter before that. Instead of doing that, I decided I'm going to read chapter 217, make my review, read chapter 218, make my review, and then put them together, and that's how it's going to work. So if you're wondering why when I'm reading chapter 217 and I start asking questions about something in chapter 218, that's because I didn't read it yet. So I kind of have that full on, it's the same thing that it feels when if I were to done it last week instead. So it's a a good review like that. I do like that, instead of being spoiled and then kind of changing my opinions on something in that chapter. So yeah, let's get on to my chapter 217 review of Shokugeki no Soma. How did I feel about this chapter? Honestly, I'm going to have to say that it was kind of a little disappointing, I'm not gonna lie, because obviously this was a chapter with Megashima, the third C, and I thought it was gonna at least show the ending result, show his dish and everything, show his opponent's dish, because the opponent was of course the other person that joined the Elite 10 after the other Elite 10 members had left, because they turned rebel and everything. And I wanted to see how that matchup would go. We got to see a lot more than I thought with Ishiki and everything. So I was actually surprised, and I was actually excited to see if they would show something of the third seed. Instead, it was still cool, with having the Uraha, or whatever her name is, the announcer girl, kind of like she's full on like, you're gonna lose, you're not gonna stand a chance, and Kuga's over there just like, well, yeah, but did you forget that this is the former third seed this person's going against? And literally she turns around and just straight up done already. It's over. Megashima won easily, didn't look like he broke a sweat at all, and that's cool and all. That makes some pretty damn hype, like holy crap, I want to see more of him, but it kind of just sucked, because I wanted to see the process, see what made him the third seed, why is he that good to be the third seed, and at least show the dish, for goodness sakes. Like, you don't have to show the process. If you don't even want to show the judging, then whatever, but at least show the dish. I want to see what dish they ended up having to make and why he was able to beat her in that certain dish, because it could have been his speciality for all we know. Probably not, because they decided to just not show it. But it just felt kind of weird that they ended up just skipping over it like that, And then, of course, the rest of the chapter was pretty much them trying to decide, who was going to go against who and everything. Is a little intermission for now before the second bout starts, because pretty much first bout, we already see that the Rebels completely sweeped the Elite 10 members in just pretty damn. I honestly did not expect that. I thought maybe the third seed, like even though he is the third seed, there would be a chance that somehow he loses, and it would be surprising, but it would make it so that it's still kind of head to head is still kind of close. Right now though, they made it seem like holy crap, the Rebels are 3 up right now. But of course, I guess that kind of makes sense in the fact that they were able to take kind of like the 3 lower ones, besides Aizen obviously because he's the 9th seed. And I'm pretty sure since he's not, like, he's probably gonna go against like what's it called, Soma later on in the second bout, I guess, or maybe the third bout. I'm not too sure when that's gonna happen, because I could definitely see Soma wanting to be in the second bout and go up against someone once again, because you know how Soma is, and I would not doubt that Aizen would want his revenge on Soma. So it could happen in the second bout. It could happen in the third. If I think that's how it works. That's why it's kind of like a process of elimination kind of thing right now, it seems like, because the other 3 members that lost already cannot go in. So pretty much it's 8 versus 5. Yeah, 8 versus 5. So I honestly can't wait to see the next chapters, because it's probably going to get crazy, especially with the ending of this chapter, considering Kuga, of course, declares war on Tsukasa. We already knew that he wanted to go against Tsukasa, but I don't know how that's going to work out, honestly. I honestly think that he's not going to be able to beat him. It sucks, because I do like Kuga's character and everything. He's always funny to watch, but he was the 8th seed, and he's going to go against the 1st seed. And this is Tsukasa we're talking about. He's literally a god. I don't know who can beat him, honestly. That's what kind of scares me, in the fact that the Rebels can go ahead and beat all of them. But if, like, in my opinion, Tsukasa and, of course, Rindo are still up, I think they can literally beat all 8 of them. So, honestly, I don't know how this is going to go. I'm definitely excited to see how it's going to end up being. But, yeah, that was pretty much the end of the chapter. Definitely not the most exciting chapter. Like I said, I was kind of disappointed in the fact that we didn't get to see Megishima, do any of his cooking or anything. But hopefully in the next chapter we do get to see more or some crazy stuff as the second bout does begin. Who will it be going against who? I'm not too sure, but I have a feeling like it's kind of confusing, because like, do you think that it's a possibility that Kuga may not end up going against Tsukasa in this next one? But it would be so cool to see that. But yet, so like, it's honestly the one fight that I'm kind of like little topsy-turvy, because I'm not too sure. I can think that Kuga, he's super set on being able to beat Tsukasa, and maybe there's a slight chance. But Tsukasa is literally the 1st seed for a reason. The only person that I could think could beat him would be Rindo, because she doesn't really try. But I don't know. I don't know how that's gonna be. But either way, if that does come up in the second bout, that's probably going to be my favorite, and favorite battle that's going to happen for sure. But yeah, that's all I really got to say about chapter 217, guys. So I'm going to end this here, and this little cut here, and then we're going to get on to chapter 218. So in 3, 2, 1. And here is the chapter 218 section of the review. I got to say, I'm pretty damn hyped and excited for this next chapter that's going to be coming, because this one, literally, I was wondering what was going to be the matchups in this second bout. It's got to be pretty crazy. The beginning part was pretty much just, of course, Kuga trying to, tell it. You can definitely see that Kuga is definitely scared of Tsukasa. He still wants to go against him no matter what. But it was still funny to see the interactions between Soma and Kuga. So that part was okay. But the parts that literally got me super hyped up was finally when they decided who was going to go against who. Them coming out, we see that the Rebels have decided to send out Kuga. Obviously, that makes sense. We already knew that he wanted to go against Tsukasa, so that's why the whole thing before went off. And then, of course, they decided to send in Megishima as well, the former 3rd seed, considering he is the best, and his whole strategy is like send out the best of the best, which is why you thought they would have sent out Ishiki along, the former Elite 10 members. But instead of Ishiki, they decided to send out Subaru, which can work, but I'm kind of a little iffy. Sure, his, complete copying of someone's, cooking can really do well, and he's gotten even better than before. But I don't know how that's going to work out against one of the Elite 10. This one, and it's not like he's going against one of the, 2 members who joined Elite 10 after. No, he's going up against the former 5th seed, now 4th seed, Soma Saito, I think. And we have not seen what this guy's, speciality is yet as well. We just see that he's always got kind of like a sword or a paddle kind of thing that he's holding. It looks pretty badass, I gotta admit. But he's the one that's going to be going against Subaru. And I don't know how that's going to end up working out. That battle is probably the most kind of the biggest question mark for me of the bouts, the second bout so far. That one can either go somehow Subaru does some crazy shit and he copies his and makes it even better and ends up winning that way, or obviously what I'm thinking along the lines is more of Soma Saito end up taking him out, and his trace on pretty much kind of thing is pretty much what it is. His copying ability will not succeed, thus having them winning. Then this is where I'm kind of like this. It would make sense how the first bout, pretty much all of them were the Rebels win. It was a complete sweep. It would make sense that the third one ends up being a complete sweep for the Elite 10, the Central members as well, especially considering who they've sent out. They've literally sent out their very best practically, in the fact that they sent out Rindo and Tsukasa. And I gotta admit, Rindo, best girl. Holy crap, she looks like literally page 17 I think it was, literally just completely beautiful. I was just like, oh my gosh, she is so sexy, so beautiful. Like Rindo is the best girl, and I cannot wait to see her cook as well. Like, I'm definitely excited for that. Like, literally just seeing her period is awesome. And she's going to be going up against Megashima, who's the 3rd seed. So we have the 2nd seed going against the 3rd seed. I honestly feel that out of all the Elite 10 members, there is a huge discrepancy between the 10 to 3 and then the 2nd to 1st. I feel that Rindo and Tsukasa are like literally on a whole nother level. And honestly, even if it's 3rd versus 2nd, I think Rindo may end up winning, unless this is the one chance that it may end up being that Rindo does not really even care and she doesn't really try, and thus that ends up being Megashima end up winning, which would make sense. I can see that happening. But if it does go the way I'm thinking, in the fact that the Central members and the Elite 10 end up just going complete sweep of them 3-0, which would make it an even 5 versus 5 for the next bout, it would make sense. So I can see somehow Rindo losing, more because she doesn't try, but there's more. It's like I don't see him having a chance against Rindo, honestly. Not just because she's beautiful, not because I just love her personality or her her character period. I love her character. Also because literally she is the 2nd seat for a reason. She is really good, and the way they always show it is that she's probably better than Tsukasa. It's just she doesn't really try. So I don't know, that one is also kind of a question mark. Like I said, the first one between Subaru and Saito could go either way. I'm leaning more towards Soma Saito winning, along with also Rindo winning. But you never know, honestly. You honestly never know how this may end up turning out. Because honestly, they could just have Tsukasa being like the final one, taking everyone out, like some crazy shit like that happening, I could definitely see that happening, but I'm leaning more towards Central ending up 3-0ing. And of course, that leads us to the last one, which is of course Tsukasa versus Kuga, which I've already talked about in chapter 217, in the fact that there's a chance maybe Kuga somehow wins, but I honestly cannot see that happening. Tsukasa is literally the number 1 seed, and like I said before, the only person I think that can beat him would be Rindo. So I do not know how Tsukasa is going to end up being beaten by anyone, honestly. Like I said before, with Rindo, she may not really try. She doesn't really care as much, and I could definitely see that is somehow she ends up losing like that. But with Tsukasa, I honestly can't see anyone beating, him. That's the scary thing. Like, I can't see Ishiki, I can't see Kuga, I can't even see Soma because he's already tried. It could just be the main character, Soma ends up doing something crazy and somehow is able to overcome the odds of going against Tsukasa. But other than Soma, I don't see anyone else beating them. So it should definitely be interesting to see how these, the second bout ends up going, because literally the first bout was cool. It was cool to see Tsukasa, Ishiki going against that one guy, Julio, but I kind of had a feeling Ishiki was better, obviously. Megashima was better, obviously. Soma and Nene were the closest one, and Soma, of course, we know he can't lose because, obviously, he is the main character, and they're not gonna make him lose in the first bout if we want to see him again, you know. So it would make sense that I kind of assumed that they would already win. This time along the line, this battle, the second bout is like 10 times more crazier, and considering that these are Elite 10 going against Elite 10, except Subaru, obviously, and that's why I kind of feel like he's probably going to lose for sure, but you never know with his type of skill that he may somehow end up winning. Definitely a possibility, but I'm leaning more toward the 3-0 sweep for Central, maybe a 2-1 with Subaru somehow doing something crazy along those lines. But I have a feeling that Riddle's going to win, and I have a feeling that Tsukasa's going to win. Thus, you know, that whole thing with Soma saying if, you know, Kuga does end up losing, he's going to avenge him and beat Tsukasa, and that's probably what's going to happen, honestly, in my opinion. But yeah, it's all I really gotta say, guys. Honestly, this chapter right here, last chapter, it was, you know, kind of disappointing in my opinion, because I wanted more out of the Megashima kind of battle and everything. But this time, I guess that's okay, because we're gonna see him go, you know, go ahead and fight against Rindo in the second bout. So you know for a fact they're not gonna cut corners. They're gonna go to show the full battle for sure, no doubt about it. And that should be interesting. Just all the battles this one in the second bout should be pretty damn interesting. Literally, I am so hyped right now. I cannot wait to see the next chapters come out already. I wish they could just immediately just have all of them out already and see how it goes, but gotta wait. So that's all I gotta say, guys. Hope you enjoyed this Anime Kingdom manga review. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below. Is there anything I missed and you want to talk about, comment below as well. And if you did enjoy it, don't forget to like. If you haven't already, feel free to subscribe for more content. And yeah, that's all I gotta say, guys. So till next time, see ya.